And what's nice is this is already pre-installed. And the nut is already installed. That's really killer. Wow, these are nice. Very light. Grips for the handlebars. Stem riser. Base unit. Goodies. So we're going to start mounting the skis to the bottom part of the Sno Go, and it comes with 3 different bolts to use. This size right here has a star head in the top, and you'll need that wrench, which comes with, I'm going to use my own tools. It then comes with a long bolt with an Allen head and a very short bolt with an Allen head, and those we'll use to put the foot pads on. So, but I'm going to put the skis on now, and you use this short star head bolt. And you're going to want to put a drop of Loctite in the actual threads on the ski. Just put a little drop inside. So I'm going to do that now. All I've done is line the skis up to the holes that are in the skis with the holes on the lower half of the Sno Go. I'm sure there's a name for this thing, but I don't care. I would recommend using the blue color Loctite on these, because if you want to switch out to different skis like the All Mountains, you want to be able to remove those at some point. So if you decide to use a tool like this to screw these in, don't tighten it down with this. Sno Go provides the star tool. Use that to get your final tightness. So there are 2 size bolts to put the foot pads on, long and short. They all have hex heads, Allen bolt heads. The long ones go in the back, short ones go in the front. Put a little dab of Loctite on the bottom of the bolt before you put it in. So the next install is these parts right here that hold your foot in. Again, these probably all have names. I don't know what the names are, but don't matter. So these go on with bolts and washers and nuts that came with. It's a bag, and they look like this. Each bolt will get a washer on each side, one on bolt side and one on the nut side. You don't need Loctite because the nuts have nylon inserts, and so they'll lock up on their own. And each of these gets 3. So basically, you start on this side. There's 2 slots here. You get a bolt, 2 bolts on the upper slot, 1 on the bottom, and they go through the holes in the back. So bolt and washer, and then washer and nut. When you tighten that down, you'll feel the nylon bushing in the nut stop you from moving that nut by hand anymore, and you need to use a tool. So Sno Go gives you the Allen wrench for this bolt, and they give you a little wrench for the nut, and you're welcome to use that. I am going to use a ratchet, which I find to be way easier. Also, something I didn't mention, these are not symmetrical, so there is a left and a right. Okay, your foot goes in like this. So obviously you wouldn't put it on this side because it wouldn't work. So these are left and right, and I don't see that they're marked left and right. So, and they mount to the inside of the frame, not the foot side, but the inside. So only crank these down good enough to get it on there, but you're still able to slide it back and forth freely. I'm not doing that very well. Loosen this a little bit. Okay, now see I can slide it back and forth. So then grab the boot you're going to be using. Make sure this is the left side, so this is the left boot. Okay? So I want to make sure that my heel gets past this metal bar back here, so it's on the foot pad and tight. So that's still a little loose. I'm going to move it back a little bit. There. That's almost just about the center for this boot. And you know, these are snowboard boots, but you can use, I have a pair of snowmobile boots that aren't quite as stiff. If you still snowboard, you can use your snowboard boots, but of course snowboard boots are meant to be stiff, so these have no flex on the bottom, whereas snowmobile boots have a little bit more flex, a little more comfortable, but they also deal with cold weather and snow. That's the most important thing. Keep your feet warm, have some grip on the bottom, and then you can adjust these to fit the boot you're using. Beat. Sounds like from Canada. Beat. Okay, once you get your position, tighten that down all the way. Remember, never, ever over tighten, okay? No matter what you're building, doesn't matter. Always use that as a key. Don't over tighten, especially with nylon bushings like that are inside of these nuts. Okay, I'm just gonna double check. So I can get that food in there and it's beyond that. It's tight. And it's beyond that this back bar. I don't want my heels sticking up like that. I want to be able to shove that in there and it to be tight. That seems pretty good. If your boot, whatever you're using, has a little bit lower, you can lower this. There's two nuts here, and that can move up and down in this direction. I'm finding that the stock position works really well for my boots. It's just back and forth that I have to adjust. One of the last things you want to do before you ride your Sno Go is check all of your bolts and make sure that they are tight but not over tight. So I just checked all the bolts and tightened them. You're going to need a 17mm wrench and I think it's a 5.5, I'm not positive, Allen wrench that comes with the bike. And so the Allen goes in the bolt here and then the 17mm goes on the nut on the back. Okay, and so just make sure all those are tight, especially the tower. But you don't want it to be so tight that this won't fall. There's a GoPro video that talks about this directly from GoPro. So that should fall down on its own. Right now it's not. It's actually staying up. So it's too tight. So I'm going to loosen those up a little bit so that falls on its own, and that's where the ideal spot is. Again, there's a video on YouTube, Sno Go YouTube, that talks about where the sweet spot is for that. So I suggest you check that out. Okay, so I have the base of the Sno Go completed. The frame is sitting here. I need to install the Fox 38 shock. It does not come with a crown race. That is this metal part right here. And, I took it to a local bike store here in Utah, and they had, it's a 1.5 inch race. They had them in stock, and he went ahead and installed it for me for nothing. Those guys are great at Trek in American Fork, Utah. Dylan, awesome dude, thank you. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put the frame on the base of the Sno Go, and then I'm going to install the shock, the riser, all of the spacers, and the handlebars, and we'll be complete. So here we go. On. I'm just going to make sure that these bearings are seated evenly in the inserts, and they are. Okay, so we're going to go Insert the shock. And then set this back. There we go. That makes it a little easier. There's this metal bushing that goes on next, and that seats down in there. There we go. There we go. Click. Then the collar. Then we're going to check and see if I need spacers. Okay, looks like I'm going to need, we've got one black spacer here. So that should work. Cool. Okay, first we're going to make sure this is straight. Tighten up this riser. I'm pressing down a little bit on this spacer while I tighten. And I'm not going to over tighten yet. That way there's no play in there. Okay. Save that. We'll tighten that again in a minute. So part of this bike, Rain provided these 1-up carbon fiber handlebars, and they are awesome. They're super light, and they're supposed to have some flex to them to help with bumps even more than the shock, I suppose. And it looks like I'm gonna need, I'm gonna need a few risers in here to get this flush. We'll start with that.
If you're gonna use it, don't abuse it. Play it all life like you might just lose it.
That's,
One hit.
I don't know if we can get any closer.
Stimulate my mind.
Tiny bit. I bought some of these from Amazon. Buck Close is the manufacturer, and I bought it for my other bike. They're these risers, a bunch of different sizes. I'm going to use this little thin one between the two black, just for fun, so that when I put the steering bolt in, yes, that's flush now, much better. Okay, and then this bolt goes in.
Talk about life.
I'm just going to tighten that a little bit, just to get it snug. What we're going to do, I'm going to tighten the neck. Let me make sure that's straight. Okay, I'm just checking for play to make sure these collars aren't flopping up and down, the spacers. And then I'm just gonna get this tight, the last crank down, not over tighten. Okay, just tight. Alright, and then one more snug on the center bolt. Don't have to go too tight on that. It just holds everything together. And I've got a little cap that goes in the bolt. And then front ski. And boom. That's it. Looks killer. Rain, thank you. Billy's gonna be excited.
Accepted. Many individuals lose themselves in a whirlwind of fashion, trend, and media perpetrations.